Hello and welcome to, I don't even know how to say it, Fcuk the news. A quick warning to anyone who's here watching us. You can read it on the screen. This show is only for mature minds. And if you're not I forgot to unmute my mic. How's that? Can you hear me, Dennis?
I can hear you great, FQ, thanks. There you go.
Hello.
There you are. All right, everybody. So while FQ is getting all of his gear situated and technology working again, it looks like he's going to join us back here in just a minute. I just wanted to take a minute to say, those of you that join us on the Reboot show, thank you so much for doing that. However, this format is a little bit different. What we're going to be doing is covering current events, and like the banner says, is that this, if you're not over the age of 18, or if your mind is not going to allow you to manage a discussion in a way that is indicative of your age and your level of wisdom, you have been warned. So again, this is not going to be a topic about personal development. This is going to be more of what's happening now and what's going on in the world. So thanks for joining us, FQ. You're back. Thanks.
Yeah, man. It doesn't matter how many times you prepare and you prep, and it doesn't matter how many times a day you go live. That's live. Anything that can screw up will screw up. So just exactly what Dennis said, I'm going to add to it. If you're here of your own free will. You don't have to be here. If you're under 18, go to sleep. It's already too late anyways. In Pakistan, in the rest of the world, wherever, just go away. If you're over 18, it's your choice to be here. Don't bitch and moan and complain on my comments or feed or anywhere else. All right. Dennis, so what are we? This is a second show we're launching. We've been talking about it. We've been toying with this idea. What are you hoping to achieve with this?
Well, what I want to achieve is just kind of look at some world events. Look at some world events, kind of what's going on now, and discuss them. But discuss them in a way that's not so that's not necessarily the way that the mainstream media is doing it. So that we're actually giving out information, and then we're able to have intellectual discussions about it using the brains that we have.
What the fuck, intellectual?
Hey,
really?
You know what I mean? If I want all of my news in 140 characters or less, I just take it from Twitter, and then I can just finish up. Like I could take what's put out there, and I just make shit up in my head and go along with it. So
are you expecting me to be intellectual?
Well, I expect you to be an intellectual because I know you to be one, regardless of. I think being an intellectual allows us to discuss these things. We might not necessarily agree. However, our agreements or disagreements about news stories has nothing to do with our love or care for one another. So that I think being intelligent is being able to hear somebody else's.
I'm sorry. 90% of the news. 90% of the news is fuckwadry and intellectual masturbation. I'm not going to get intellectual on this, and I'm sorry, I'm not. Our personal development show Reboot, which you guys can watch at 9:30. We give each other space. We talk. I let him do his BS, and he lets me do his BS, and we don't talk over each other. But this is news. So Dennis, if I don't agree with you, man, I'm taking you on.
Let's do it. I mean,
so bring it on, dude. I mean, I got the crap, all right?
I am always down for a session of intellectual masturbation. So let's get it on.
And like you were saying earlier on Reboot, you're trained in psych. You're gonna make me cry, right?
Well, that depends on you.
Dude, look at your brothers. Look at your Guaylo brothers. Look at your Guaylo brothers. They open the lockdown, and the first thing these fuckers do is go to drinking holes. And they get into bloody fights in Spain. What the fuck is wrong with Brits? I mean, what is this about?
Hey, you know what? When people have been locked down as long as they have been, it makes sense, right? They get locked down as long as they have been. They come out and all they want to do, FQ, is they want to have a drink. I mean, and let's be honest. I mean, don't they have a right to do that? I mean, that's what we've been fighting for all along, is our right to do whatever we want. So good for them.
No, what about good for them? You know what? And thank God. This news about the Brits. I can only imagine what the Australians do, because I've seen Australians get out of control in Hong Kong after the rugby sevens. It is fucking insane. Aussies on the streets of Asia is like psychopathy or whatever, however you say that word, unleashed. So my point here is, after being in quarantine for so long, you're not out looking for the quintessential toilet paper, but you're out having bloody bar fights in Spain. I mean, that's really shit, man. I'm sorry, you can't defend this.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm defending people's right to act like idiots, right? I mean, ultimately, that's what we're talking about. I'm defending people's right to act like an idiot, and I mean that's what we seem to be fighting for these days. I mean, I don't. That's what I'm seeing. So, I mean, I guess let's just kind of go with it. I think in some ways, FQ, it kind of gets to me to where, like, you know what? I'm tired of fighting it. I'm tired of fighting it. And if that's what we're going to do, then let's all meet up at the pub and punch each other in the face. Why not?
So you basically, what you're saying is, you can't take it out on your wife, and you're going and taking it out on strangers?
Well, I can take it out on my wife. I can do whatever I want. I'm an American.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm an American. I can do whatever I want. So, what they're doing in Britain, I mean, I'm going to just come out and say, even Australia, here in the U.S., we're going to up the ante. I'm not just going to go to a bar and have a fight. I'm going to take my gun with me.
Right. Okay. That's as American as owning a gun and showing it off and using it too, which we'll get to in a fucking moment. But I want to stay here for a second. Are you saying you've got the balls to actually say on record that you can have a fight at home with your wife?
I'm saying on record, I can do.
I'm getting her on phone right now, man.
I'm saying we can do whatever we want to do. I mean, right? I mean, that's what we keep fighting for. I mean,
look at you backtracking.
Nonsense.
Look at you backtrack. You backtracking.
Well, hey, this is a totally different show. I'm not here to try to, encourage people or have them look at something in a different way. Now there's kind of a little bit of a piece of me, and it's simply just a matter of listen. I mean, I can understand where they're coming from, and please understand, I don't agree with them. It's not like I'm getting in bar fights. I have not gotten in I can't remember a bar fight that I've actually ever gotten into. So the whole thing is a little bit crazy to me. However, I'm just simply saying, from a human nature perspective, we don't like to be told what to do. And so people feel like they've been told what to do. There's always these undertones and subtext of, the deep state, whatever that means. And so, why not? In so many ways, it's just, why not get involved with it? It seems like what the world's doing these days.
Absolutely. Open immediate. Wisconsinites. What the hell's up in Wisconsin, man?
Well, they got a little crazy, man. Wisconsin got a bit crazy simply because, they felt like they had been locked down. And what I find really interesting is the bar owners. Well, when you look at some of these, when you read deeper into these stories, what you're finding is the bar owners, listen to what they're saying. Oh, our customers needed us. Your customers need a bar. Really? So, the whole world is opening up, and listen, I guess it's like this, FQ. It's not like we did good being quarantined. We didn't do good being quarantined. We don't want to wear masks. We think social distancing is stupid. So what do? We're saying the government's taking and controlling us. We're not going to have it, so we're going to go to the bar. And that's what they did. So, I think it's actually great. And what I think is excellent is that, this survival of the fittest. Go ahead. What are we going to see? Let's go to the pub and let's see whether herd immunity actually works. Do it.
I'm all for that. Before we go to the next news, I want to really, hey, Rafi, you've got a mouth on you, girl. I'm proud of you. All right.
Rafi is coming out of her shell.
Yeah, she is, man. Talking about gun, man. This shit happened near where you live?
Yeah, so I don't know the miles to kilometers conversion without looking it up, but basically this is about 20 miles away from my house, and this is actually right by. This occurred right by where for anybody NFL fans, this occurred right by where the Arizona Cardinals play, as well as the Phoenix Coyotes. I don't really follow NHL or hockey, but yeah, we have a hockey team that plays right there as well. So it's a very big, it's a beautiful shopping center. It's only been there a few years, and in fact, it's literally about 3 miles away from where my wife April works. She goes to work every single day. So, yeah, quite an interesting story.
What went down here?
Well, what I understand and what I've taken from the news, and I actually they posted the arraignment on the online, and I was able to watch that, and really I learned a couple of new things. One, I had never heard of this guy. He refers to himself as an incel, INCEL, which means involuntarily celibate. The interesting thing with that is he's only 20.
Is that a word? Did he invent that shit?
No, he didn't invent it. Apparently, it's a thing. I was looking at it before our broadcast started. So I listen. I had never heard of this.
So it's involuntary celibacy.
Correct. So I guess that's a cool term for I can't get laid.
What the fuck is voluntary celibacy?
I think that would be like a priest.
Oh, you don't want to get laid. Here, you want to get laid and you can't.
Right. And what I think is really funny in this whole story is that the most interesting thing is if you look at the guy's picture, he's 20 years old. He's 20 years old. I mean, his nuts have barely descended. I mean, he's just now starting to get fuzz. So he's not to get so upset in life that you haven't been in a relationship yet. It just it boggles my mind. He went there with the intent, and he was on record saying that he went there with the intent to commit mass shooting. He wanted to harm as many people as possible, and he had been planning this for 2 to 3 years. So he's 20.
So he started at 17.
That's what he's saying. Yeah. Yeah, he started this whole process at 17 years old. He went there, and this is the best part, is so he went there to commit this shooting. He went there to commit this shooting, and what really kind of seems like it triggered him is he went into the Panda Express to get some food. And I don't know if they messed his order up. I don't know if it was too crowded, so he decided, that's it. Hey, I can't get my Panda Express, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to commit this act of violence. Very crazy. It makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
And he was targeting couples only.
Couples only. That's what he said. He wanted them to feel the pain that he feels every day.
Only if the motherfucker knew what the couples were going through.
I've been married coming on 30 years. You want to talk pain? Let's talk about my pain.
Exactly.
I've been married for 30 years, and there's times I think about, I have violent thoughts come into my mind. Never going to the mall and shooting it up has that been one of them. So he came right out and said it was his whole way to get even with society. I'm like, dude, you're 20. You're 20. How many people don't even have a date until later in life? Get on Fish for Nudes or Match.com or something. I mean, there's all kinds of ways. For goodness sakes, get Tinder or Grindr, for God's sakes.
Sure, man. I'm sure you can find weirdos there as well. Okay, I'm gonna touch a few comments here. Rafi says, on the reboot show, I try to be mature, adult, and ladylike. Here's a different story. Hey, Rafi, be yourself, girl. I mean, no one's getting in your way.
Me too, Rafi.
There's a high probability we'll start enjoying this more than that one. So let's see where that goes. Since this is a different show, Abdullah Rizwan, hey, flip you too, man.
Is that to us, or are you just saying to everybody?
This guy on the comment, yeah.
Well, I know I saw it, but I just want to make sure, before I take pleasure in it, I want to make sure that it's directed at me. I love being flipped off.
I think it's directed at us, because,
perfect. Well, F me too.
Okay, I don't know what this is. I mean, you guys are making trouble but you cannot change the facts and figures if you don't follow it. I don't know what that shit is, man. Come on, guys, make good comments. Yeah. So he must be fucked in the head. He's hungry as well. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Rafi, you don't want to get this on record, for God's sake.
No.
What if it's...
No.
You don't want to get this on record, man. No. Not a good idea to get this on record.
Speaking of stuff on record, I'm just going to come out and say this. For everybody, and I don't know if this is a thing and you're part of the world, FQ, I see all these people here driving around making live videos. They're going live while they're driving. One, not safe. Two, is do you really want a record of that? I mean, do you really want a record of your inability to drive? I mean, turn it off.
Well, I do a lot of live, but when I'm bitching and moaning about the people on the road, which is pretty much all the time. I mean, I ask my wife every now and then. She just screams, "Why are you screaming at me? They can't fucking hear you, so shut up." So
we have laws against that here, and I'm just going to say you do that here. You do that here, and now what you're doing is you're just leaving a trail. So it's funny how people don't. I always hear this. I don't want the government in my business. Well,
laws
if you don't want
what?
What's that?
You have laws against what?
In my state and in many places in the United States, to even have your cell phone on, you have to have a hands-free. You're not supposed to be using it. You're definitely not supposed to be using it while you're behind the wheel.
No, I've got a whole rig. I've got dash cams and shit in my car. So yeah. So I've got a full rig. All right, while talking about this poor guy who had to kill couples just because he couldn't get laid, if he had some bucks, he should move to England, where sex for rent is actually a thing. Do you know about that?
I learned about that recently, and it's interesting because in looking that up, I'm actually finding that it happens here. And the cool part is that I actually have 2 rooms, extra rooms. So,
man, you're really trying to get into trouble, right?
Hey, let's this is where we get to shake it up and kind of have some fun. So, and make fun of this stuff, because that's to me, we're all ridiculous. And when you look at some of this, I mean, come on. It's beyond comprehensible to me that because I don't like what I'm either getting laid or not getting laid, so I decide to take and go shoot it up. The interesting thing over here, whenever time a shooting like that happens, what we always get into is, you always hear the comments, see, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well,
so coming to this item in the UK, for the last few years, there has been a thing called sex for rent. If you can't afford to pay your rent, you sleep with the landlord a few times a week. So a BBC reporter actually went undercover and did this whole expose. She was interviewed by this, prospective landlord, and the deal was, once or twice a week he can come and have sex with her. In return, she gets free room, which, I don't know what's your take on that, Dennis. I mean, I'm kind of confused about it. And guess what? It's completely legal, by the way.
It is legal. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. To me, at the end of the day, it still comes down to prostitution. And I mean,
for God's sake. First of all, it's sex work, all right? Be politically correct. And
hey,
secondly,
and I'm all for sex work, because sex work is work. So, I don't have a problem with it. It's just simply that, let's just call it what it is. Let's just call it what it is. It is prostitution.
No, it's not. No, sir. No. That's really unfair. That's really unfair.
Okay. How so?
Prostitution is prostitution. This is where you're not taking cash. You're just getting your rent waived off. I mean, that's completely different, I think.
It's still services for pay, right? Still services for pay.
It's the way you look at it. And I'm sorry, but you're looking at it wrong.
More than likely, I am. To me, this is plain and simple. That this is really just a form of prostitution. I mean, if we want to take and say that, though, I mean, we all prostitute every time we take money for a service. So I understand that it's a different kind of service. I'm just simply saying is, for somebody's long-term mental health, probably not a good idea to engage in this. What I'm more curious about, FQ, is how do these conversations even come up? I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine initiating that type of a conversation. So it's an interesting concept to me, for sure.
And that's why you have 2 empty rooms and no one in there. But guess what? Guess what? The current situation with the economy is creating more of a need for that. Look at this news item. It appeared today that more and more people, more and more landlords are offering room for sex, and a lot of ladies are actually taking it. They're saying we don't have a choice, and this particular lady said, I have got a family, I can't be put out on the street.
Yeah, and what I'm going to say to that is I actually don't have negative feelings towards the ladies in that situation. I think that the guys taking advantage of that situation are scumbags.
Well, how is he taking advantage? I'm so sorry. Could you elaborate on that, please?
I mean, if you're wanting to take and rent something out, then rent it out. Lower the rent.
But he is renting it out.
Right, then lower the amount that you're charging people, so that they can actually afford to pay for it in cash as opposed to with their ass.
No, but he doesn't want to lower the charges. He just wants to take in kind instead of cash.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, since this is called the oldest crime for a long time, or the oldest profession for a long time.
Thank you. I was about to correct. It's not called the oldest crime. It's called the oldest profession.
Absolutely.
So you know what? Thank you, Rafia. Call a spade, man. It's called free rent. Rafia, you're really out there. I like you. You've got it right, girl. And guess what? It's also becoming a problem in the U.S. now. It's not just there. It's coming to you, Dennis. So you might want to keep an eye on Craigslist and see what you can put out.
No, I'm absolutely going to do that. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow it, because I can see all kinds of new types of lawsuits coming from the Fair Housing Act and all these other regulatory agencies that we have here where that stuff is concerned. So that'll be interesting to follow. We'll have to have follow-up conversations on that.
Well, talking about sex for rent, things are more interesting. Did you read about this nurse?
I did read about this. Again, now we're saying, I guess in this context, I'm okay with it. I mean, she obviously was hot. She's providing a service to the patients, and at some point they're going to want a good sponge bath, especially if they're dressed like that. So that's it's interesting.
You got to get off Pornhub, man. It's not about that. It's not about nurse fantasy. This poor girl is saying, she's 23. I mean, you look at you, look at you, misogynist, sexual beast, animal predator that you are. She's just a 23-year-old, and she says, I was feeling really hot under my PPE, so I didn't wear anything. And she said, I did not know that the PPE was transparent. Not her fault.
Not her fault. I mean, it was kind of the same as, when I was a firefighter and I didn't have my gear on and I got burned. I mean, that wasn't my fault either.
There you go.
Hey, right on. So here's the real question, FQ. Here's the real question. Would this be a bigger news story if the nurse didn't look like her?
Here's the question.
Let's add 100 pounds.
Here's the question. Would she do it if she didn't look this hot?
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Maybe this is where is this at? Oh, this is in Russia. I guess they're a little bit more liberal in Russia than we are here in the United States. I think ultimately we talk a big game, but I think in many ways we're just a big bunch of prudes. So,
talking about this, have you seen Latin American weather reporters? That's a thing too. Maybe one of these days we can talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you familiar with that?
Say it again.
South American weather news reporters. The weather girls.
Yeah.
They compete in who can take off more clothes.
Yes, and I believe that they also have like the biggest booty contest over there too.
Oh yeah.
That they participate
on primetime TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, the doctors are really supporting her. But the interesting thing, one of the the head of the Doctors Alliance, Dr. Anastasia, said everyone's looking at her in her skivvies, checking her out, but no one's actually noticing that the PPE is not supposed to be like a raincoat. It's supposed to be of fabric. Even you, Dennis. I mean, come on, you perv.
Well, I'm just going to say, when I think you wear that, I think you're just distracting from something else. So I think she got exactly what she wanted. And I think we're actually promoting her just a little bit more.
I think so did the COVID patients.
And you know what? And especially for them, I'm just going to, as an act of pity towards them, an act of service towards them. I mean, they're having a bad day. They're in the hospital. I'm sure she came along and provided a few smiles.
You know what? Brilliant point. Thank you, Irfan. Brilliant point.
Yes.
See, exactly what we talked about the other day.
Yeah.
A woman can get away with shit, a man can't.
Yeah, but I mean, can we all just be honest, Irfan? Can we all just be honest for a minute? I mean, I'm just gonna say, like, I don't have. To me, man, female doesn't really matter. But if I'm gonna have to look at something, nobody wants to see a ding dong hanging out. I mean, come on, even women don't really like that. So, like, I don't even know that that's really a fair comparison.
Depends on the inclination, man. Depends on the inclination completely. If you're into that kind of stuff, you are. If you're not, you're not. So yeah, about the Mexican news reporters. Yeah. All right, talking about underwear. Check this guy out, man. Check this out. This is in Singapore. So this guy is actually a bra thief, and he was actually arrested for it, then released. And during the COVID circuit breaker, which the Singaporeans call the circuit breaker, where you have a lock-in notice, you have to stay in. He actually snuck out. He violated his stay-at-home order to steal some more underwear.
Well, yeah.
Have you ever done that, Dennis?
Have I ever done it? No, I've never needed to. I mean, people usually.
It's just a question. I mean, you don't have to get.
People leave their underwear with me. I mean, I don't have to go out and steal them. I am just going to say. What I'm going to say.
Oh, you Tom Cruise, yeah?
What I'm going to say is that at least he was stealing nice quality ones, because I see a pair of Calvins in there. So, it's not like he's stealing terrible, gross underwear. So, I don't know. I've never totally understood that whole thing of stealing underwear. But, I also don't wear PPE where my underwear shows. So.
Well, stealing underwear is a thing. I mean, I don't know if you're too familiar with, the various kinks around the world, but sniffing underwear and playing with underwear, yeah, that is a thing, I think.
It is.
Wow, check this out, man! Look at all this trivia coming out. David Beckham wore his wife's underwear. The fetish is, dude. I didn't know this.
I didn't know it either. But who cares? I mean, look at Victoria. I'd wear her underwear too.
Rafia, what are you? What are you? I mean, this is what's going on, man? I mean, I hope she's not just saying this. This is okay. I want to know what you did with it, Rafia. I really need to know what you did with that. Nicking underwear is all right. I mean, it's not all right, but okay. But what did you actually do with it? I'm curious. So
this whole conversation, it reminds me of that scene in Silence of the Lambs. It reminds me of that scene in Silence of the Lambs, where instead of where he throws the lotion down. He's like, put the lotion on its skin, and then he's dancing around. He's dancing naked in front of the mirror, but he does a tuck under, and when he's dancing around in the mirror and. He's done the tuck under, and he's like, I'd F me. Those are the kind of people that steal underwear.
Okay, no, that's just kleptomania. I mean, that's not an underwear fetish. So yeah, she used to steal stuff. No, that's boring, Rafia. Come on.
Oh,
that's
Rafia. Here, Rafia, one of the things you can do is just take their underwear and then put it in a thing, put it in like a baggie, wet it down, put it in a baggie, and then throw it in the freezer. And then they can find their underwear all frozen. And then you've done something constructive with it. There you go.
Well, that's about all the stupid news we could find for today. People need to let us know if they want more of reboot or they want more of this. And Dennis, you and I need to reconsider, do we want more reboot, more of this, or maybe 50-50, I don't know, the 5 days a week. So I don't know how we're going to wing it, man.
Yeah, so if anybody has a opinion on that, whether you like the format of this show, definitely let us know. I think personal development is still good, and it has its place. But I also think that there's times and places to talk about what's happening now in current events. So, and again, these are just situations I think that allow us to laugh. They allow us to laugh without getting involved. I don't know why people steal underwear. I haven't a clue why people get upset to the point of shooting because they can't get laid. I mean, it ends up just being so nonsensical that I don't see how we can't help but laugh as opposed to sit there and take that stuff serious. Hey, right on, Rafia. Get after it. Let me know how that prank works.
Fuck, man, you've created a monster.
Hey, and I'll tell you one funny thing I did, or well, I thought it was funny, and I'll share this with you, and then I'll sign off. Which is, so one of the things I learned this a long time ago is I took my wife's towel. This has been several years. I did it one time, and I have not done it since. But I took her bath towel. She was in the shower. I took her bath towel, and while she was in the shower, and I soaked it. I soaked it in water, and then so when she got out of the shower, her towel was all wet. So she definitely expressed her displeasure with me.
Now, I was about to ask exactly what happened in the follow-up of that event. That's what I'm. Okay, we have some comments. Let's have a quick look at this. Ishan says encore. All right, that's 50-50. That's
all right,
2.
perfect. Thanks, Ralph. Yeah.
1 vote for more reboot. I think it's meant to wear female underwear. How females feel, dude. I mean, okay. All right. Irfan says 50-50. And there you go. So I think, yeah, there's enough votes in favor for doing this more. But let's see how we do this.
Absolutely.
And we'll be in touch. Thank you very much. Until
All right.
tomorrow.
Signing
Until
off.
Monday. Until Monday. Good night.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay blessed, everybody. Take care.